Hello. Welcome everyone for the final presentation at the ARTtech seminar at Assembly Summer 2017. This topic will be discussing playing game music. And please welcome Lukas Stasevskij and Saku Mattila.
Thank you, everyone. Hi, my name is Saku Mattila, and I'm the oboe player of Game Music Collective. We have some technical issues here, but this was our music greeting to you all.
Hi everybody, my name is Lukas Stasevskij. I am flutist, no, cellist, and artistic director of Game Music Collective. We are starting our presentation and telling a little bit what is going on, what is all about. And first, we would like to ask some question.
Yes. How many of you have been in a live game music concert? Hands up. Here we have a couple people. Cool. Mr. There, would you like to actually share a little bit your experience? Like what was it, and when was it, and how was it?
Well, I think it was, I'm not sure of the year, but I think it was some sort of rock and roll reconstruction of the some classical 8-bit remake or something.
Okay.
Okay.
Remakes.
Did you recognize the piece what we just played for you?
No, not really.
Question, did you recognize the piece what we just played in the beginning?
Sorry, I didn't get it. I think it was some cello.
Okay,
cello?
anybody
No,
got
cello.
it? What was it?
There
Was somebody.
Yeah, well, I don't know exactly, but it's from Final Fantasy VII, I believe.
Exactly,
Yes.
main team. Thank you.
Yes. But about these game music concerts, like mostly, I think that was a rock band that you were listening, and also there are classical orchestras, symphony orchestras that also play game music concert. Not as in main repertoire, but as one project that they make.
Yeah. So, as you said, there is several concepts in the world what are performing game music in live situations, and originally video game music is mostly done for classical instruments. So, if you want to hear it more or less authentically, it needs players to play who have classical background. So in other words, you need to study. So for example, I am cellist and I have started play cello. I was 10 years old. You started to play
I
oboe.
was 9 years old.
9 years
when I
old,
started
yeah.
the oboe.
And so we are both former students from Sibelius Academy. It's our main university for music in Finland. And but also, as you said, there is rock concepts, and usually there are like transcriptions made for electric guitar and drums, and so it's also possible to play like that. And I wanted a little bit to tell maybe background of video game music and also about performing video game music. So very first tracks made for video games was it was done in 80s, and at that time video game music was not at all strong or important part of games. Very often the composers were actually amateurs, and the budget was very low, and it was not really respected area to work. However, video game composers at that time, because nobody was actually saying for them what they need to do. They were not waiting, and nobody were saying what should be video game music. It made actually situations that composers at 80s, Koji Kondo and later Nobuo Uematsu, mostly from Japan, they actually made totally new music genre. Like, for example, probably the most famous video game music piece made for Super Mario Bros. By Koji Kondo. It's actually really hard to say what kind of genre it is. It's not really classical, it's not rock, it's not jazz. And of course, a very strong part of that style in the 80s was that there was a really strict limitations from technique at that time. So there was 8 bits and 16 bits machines, and so you all know how those games sound at that time, and actually now they are like really nostalgic and very important part also nowadays video game music. And of course then in 90s when Nobuo Uematsu started to do Final Fantasy music, it made something really big for video game music industry, like a really famous artist in the world. They started to follow that. For example, Paul McCartney, he was a big fan of Koji Kondo. And because it was so good music, little by little also musicians started interested in that music, and they started to perform. So actually, the history of video game music performing it started also in Japan, and the very first concert, they say that they did it actually in 1987. They played music from Final Fantasy, and video game music is nowadays extremely important part of game industry. It has been said that it's around 30–40% of popularity of nowadays music, and because nowadays game industry is so much bigger than all music industry in the world, it have also done situation that the very most famous composers like Hans Zimmer or Ramon Javadi from Game of Thrones, they have started to do video game music. So it's extremely important and respected area in the game music industry nowadays. And the very first live performances were actually made in Japan, as I said, in 1987, but the very first orchestra what was specialized to play video game music was Little Jack Orchestra. And the very first concert was done in 2004, and there is over dozen of orchestras in Japan who have played just video game music. most of them have been amateur orchestras, so musical lovers, and who have been playing themselves games, and they just wanted to do some kind of thing together and perform music, and it have been mostly Final Fantasy what they have been performing. But there is nowadays around 4 to 5 orchestras in Japan what are professionally based. So so it's very much the culture is coming from Japan, but last 10 years the popularity of video game music have like totally exploded, and the most popular concept to perform video game music is to hire classical orchestra, and they are doing like video game music concert. And what is very interesting, why the whole idea of game music collective, it started actually from idea that I was thinking one day. I was listening in Spotify Diablo music because I love it, and I was just wondering that it's huge, this market. Like there's millions of people listening every day game music. Like it's really one of the most popular music genres in the world, and it's really strange that all other musical genres like classical or rock or pop or soul or whatever, they have like own groups or own orchestras or own institutions, but video game music, it doesn't really have that thing. There is, as I said, that there is 4 or 5 orchestras in Japan, but that's really little amount of orchestras. There is in America. There is one, so far as far I know, one orchestra which is doing that, but it's really little. And also the thing is that video game music concerts, they are very often very close to classical music culture, and I was also wondering about that because this is not really classical music; it's video game music, and it also sounds different, and the whole culture is totally different. It's coming from the games. And I was thinking that why not to do own orchestra? Like, I am from Sibelius Academy. I am enough popular there to ask other people what they think about my idea. Is it totally stupid? But in 1 week after I started to talk about idea, we had orchestra. It happened in the last December 2016, and yeah, we thought that we should really like do concert, but we don't want to like, what's the difference between us and to do like normal classical music orchestra concert? So we were thinking that what is video game music? It's, yes, we have classical instruments, but it's much more. We have a lot of special effects. It's actually very close to cinema music. So they are using a lot of special effects. They can use with classical instruments, they can use electronic instruments. So we were thinking that we need to do orchestra what's specializing in video game music and which is bringing the best out of video game music. Because in live situation, I think you all have been in some kind of concert, but in live situation, you know the energy and everything is much bigger when you're performing or listening music. So we were thinking that we start to do video game music orchestra which have electronic instrument and classical instrument, and in our first concert, which will be in September, 20th of September 2017, you will see orchestra you have never ever before seen. And maybe, Saku, you want to tell a little bit about beginning of our project?
Yes. When Lukas told me about this idea that, okay, what about we make a game music orchestra? I was thinking like, wow, okay, I've been playing like Final Fantasies a lot, like, and this music has gone somewhere really deep inside me. I realized it when we started to actually practice and play together, and I realized, like, I remember from the youth time all these pieces, and something is like making a huge emotion from it. And I would like to talk about the philosophical aspect of why to perform this game music. Myself, I think that every performance is a ritual. And human beings need rituals in their life, because rituals brings something about humanity and about being alive to their everyday life. And in this specific ritual called game music concert, there's many very special aspects. First of all, of course, the nostalgia. You know, you all know the pieces. You come there, and you are in a environment that you all already somehow know. But of course, it's a different case when real people are playing for you live. It has always a special case. Other thing is the community aspect. Like here in assembly, we have people gathered together, like together to come for the same interest, for the same things. And it's amazing to see so many people coming together and feel this energy and collectivity here. And so we want to bring that also to the concert halls for the gamers who would have another kind of community experience. And somehow I feel that this music, this game music, is something so special because it has brought people experiences while playing, and that's why I think it has to be played live, because then we can share this experience of music and the mystery of what is really the music.
Yeah, and so I think a ritual part, what Saku was telling. I mean, assembly, it's a ritual. It was first once per year. Now it's twice per year. Like, why gamers are here? Why they don't play in home? Why they are coming? They are coming here. They are sitting quietly and they are playing. Like, what's the point? What's the point to come to listen concert in live situation? So I think that there must be something that people are really paying to come to listen live performances in concert halls. They are not listening they are listening in Spotify, but they still want to go to a live situation. So I think in live performances, the music is coming totally different level, approaching the human being in generally. And yeah, I wanted to also to tell a little bit about our future plans. So, as I was saying, we are trying to do together with audience, video game music audience, together something, some new kind of society. And we started actually idea that what we will perform in our very first concert. Is it like Super Mario or because there is a huge amount of video game music nowadays, as everybody knows. So we did a poll in internet on our Facebook page, and our audience, I hope, audience, they were voting what music from which games they want to hear. So in our very first concert, the number one was Final Fantasy VII, what was not very big surprise. We will play also in our very first concert music from Ocarina of Time, Zelda, The Legend of Zelda. We will play from Final Fantasy VIII, Final Fantasy X. We will also play Mega Man. We will play music from Elder Scrolls, Skyrim, Monkey Island, Kingdom Hearts. And what was actually very interesting in this poll, that there were, of course, most of the music were old game music, but they were also newer, like Elder Scrolls, Skyrim theme, and actually they were like really surprising games, which is telling for the future that there is this first generation of people who are coming to listen to video game music. They have played Final Fantasy VII 8, 9, 10 years ago, and but there is also a new audience who want to hear the music from nowadays games. So I would say that video game music concerts are extremely popular, but it will just grow because we will have a lot of generation in forward. I don't think that nobody from us here think that video game industry will slow down or go more little. That's not gonna happen. Yeah, and another thing is that, as I was telling about appreciation of video game music. So in the very beginning, in 80s, they were doing on computers game, and nowadays it have grown so up the respect for the video game music that they are using nowadays live performers, and they are recording it, and they are using classical orchestras from East Europe nowadays mostly. But what there is not really in the world, there is no studio orchestra specialized in video game music, and it will be like very first time when we are actually doing video game music studio orchestra also. So we will play in the studio in the live situation music what have already been done, but we are also specialized in video game music aesthetics. So we will play also the video game music for future games, and that will be also extremely strong part of our future perspective. And it's a really big difference to past, that nowadays in new video games they are using live music. And for example, there is Austin Wintory, who was the very first composer who won a Grammy in a video game music track. He was using a cellist called Tina Guo actually on that track. And what means that actually the players from Sibelius Academy, who have also always before been playing just Beethoven and Mozart and so forth in concerts, now they have totally new genre of music where they can be used. So this is not just important thing, I think, for the audience, but it's also for us. So I think it's really important that we start cooperation with the audience from very beginning.
And one thing I want to say, that what is also very important, that as we artists, what we feel is that we are servants. We want to communicate with the gamers. We want to serve the gamers and to fulfill the need of the music. Yeah, for sure. For sure, and also, I mean, there is like this new ways to bring music. Of course, YouTube music videos. There is not a lot done professionally about video game music. So I think that this can be like really tight, really good cooperation with video game companies for future. If they want to brand and to show something about their future game, we can do music video about future tracks in YouTube. So it really brings the game from other perspective for the audience. So I think that's also kind of a cool thing to do in future. And of course, VR glass, virtual glass concerts, it have been starting this kind of industry also. So I hope in the future we can also play concert, and then some guys from Mongolia or Kazakhstan or
Botswana, they can, if they don't find like tickets from Finnair to Helsinki, they can like maybe listen in Botswana or somewhere else. And so yeah, I think there's a lot of good things going on in that kind of field, and also possibilities to bring video game music.
And about our first real big orchestra concert in Finlandia Hall, we are going to have 20 players, also a choir, 20 people, visual artist. We have Selek Hanks, who was also here in the opening ceremony, making really amazing, beautiful art for the music.
Yeah, I think that what you just said, it's already breaking the tradition of normal classical music concerts. We will be all with electronic devices also, so we will have mostly classical instrument, but we will have also electric instrument. We will have visual art behind that, so I think it will be totally new thing. The amount of members is 20, so it's less than in normal classical orchestra. The point was that we wanted to do orchestra which have possibilities to do epic, big video game symphony feeling, because that's of course very big part of video game music. But we also want to do the solistic aspect from ourselves, of our personalities. We want to bring ourselves, so there will be just one cello and just one viola player and just one oboe player, and then after concert, you members, you can then say that, oh, this oboe player, he was really handsome, oh, this cello player, he was really shit player, I don't want ever hear him again. And you know, so I think that's the point why we are 20. And of course the choir part is that it's there is so much choir music involved in video game music, so we want to do as epic as possible situation for your audience. And now I think that we are pretty much done. We are musicians, first of all, so we are usually performing with our instruments, so we have been like thinking that what to tell for you, so I think we are now pretty much over, but we want, in the end, we want to show for you our first video game music video, what we just did in March of this year, and hope you enjoy.
So thank you all that you came to listen us. We have tickets for the September concert we are selling here with a special price. So with an assembly price 33 euros. And here we have Katsi on the first row. You can buy from her. Or then if you want to buy later, it's possible from the main entrance. We have a desk there.
I'm sure that after your performance there will be huge line.
Yes.
Huge line for that. And also, I think there was we were talking about if anybody have any questions for us about our video game music project or about our personal life, whatever, you can now ask. I think there is some kind of possibility. So if you want to ask, you can do that. And yeah. Is there anybody?
Is there any questions?
No questions.
Oh.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
I kind of goofed up. So would our guest be nice enough and would you please play that 20-second piece again for us so I can redeem myself?
Do you want to hear that?
Thank you.
Okay. Started pretty promising.
Good job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Have a nice last assembly and
Hope to see you in the concert.
yeah.